Hi there, and welcome to I'll Knit If I Want To. I'm Andrea Maury of Drea Renee Knits, and let's jump into some knitting questions. Today I am wearing the tessellated vest as a tank top because why not? And I was so influenced by my test knitters, and I just love almost every single one of them wore it as a tank top because it did release in the height of summer for us here in the Northern Hemisphere. And we've had a steamy week, so I thought, well, I'm gonna give it a try too. So for those of you that do live in warmer climates that maybe don't want a full-on sweater, it is a great option for you. All right, let's jump right into some questions. Do you have an effective way to get the spun single off of your spindle for plying? I started with a wheel lesson, then a spindle, which helped me to understand drafting. Bought a wheel, fell in love with that, then picked up the spindle again and fell in love with that too, but my preferred plying is still on a wheel. I know about the shoe idea as a lazy Kate, but haven't got it to work well yet. What do you use? So I am kind of right there with you in the same boat. When you do come from wheel spinning, we're a little bit spoiled by how easy it is to just ply right off of those bobbins. So actually, let me grab my little spinning bag quick. Okay. So what I have been doing is using my Nosta pin, which I thought was right here on top of my bag, but I guess it's not. I've shown it in one of the recent episodes, but you use it to wind a center pole ball. It's basically a pretty stick. And so that is what I have been doing. I have just been winding off little center pole balls. And the only time I don't do that is basically when I use a Turkish spindle, and then you have the turtle, which you might really like. That might be a really nice option for you because once you're done, you just pull the pieces out and you're left with a center pole ball, so you don't have to do any extra work. And then besides that, I have been using these bobbin spindles. So here's one that is currently in the works. So this bobbin comes right off of the shaft, and these do fit. Yeah, these do fit on my lazy Kate, so I could ply right off of that. So I think your best options, if you don't want to fiddle with any like post-processing work to do before plying, would either be Turkish spindle or bobbin spindle. But otherwise, I'm just doing center pole balls, and we will see how that goes. I am actually really enjoying doing the center pole ball. I have found that it's actually a really relaxing part of the process. So maybe it'll feel the same for you, but yeah, I actually kind of have been enjoying that being part of the fun for me. So anyways, that is what I would do. I know we've got some other spinner viewers that use spindles here, so if you have any tips or tricks you could share in regards to helping out with that conundrum for us wheel to spindle spinners or just new spindle spinners, that would be awesome. Because yeah, I'm still working that part out too. All right, in a previous episode, you joked that you knit all day for work and knit all evening to relax. Do you work on your current designs only during the workday and reserve certain projects for after hours? I'm always curious about how creative folks who turned a hobby into a business manage to keep a work-life balance. It seems like it would be so tempting to work 24/7. So it is tempting. It can be, I think that's one of the biggest lessons that small business owners have to learn and figure out is how to turn off work for at least part of your day. It's really easy to just always be working. But for me, knitting is still my way to relax. It is 100% what fills me up. So I do often knit in the evenings, and it's usually whatever. I am rarely knitting something that isn't for work, unless it's a duplicate of something I've designed. So I will often have socks like the DRK Everyday socks or Harlow Hat on the Needles, especially for my walking projects. And sometimes I'll want like a second version of something. So if I am at a tricky part of a design, then I might knit on something like that in the evening, or maybe even just spin. I definitely spin like in the early morning and in the evenings as another way to decompress if I'm not knitting anything. But otherwise, I still find knitting on whatever I'm designing to be really relaxing, unless I'm in a thinking part where I'm like, okay, I got to figure out this math and the shaping and things like that. Those parts I do try to keep for my workday, just because I need to be able to focus, and I won't be able to once I'm not in my studio. So yeah. Next question. I love the new tessellated patterns, thank you, and have already bought the pullover pattern, but I really love the collar of the vest. Do you think it's possible to buy the vest pattern and Frankenstein them together, making a pullover with the nice open collar of the vest? Or am I overthinking and it's just a matter of knitting less ribbing for the neck opening? So here's the vest. I actually do think that you will find for the pullover, you could absolutely just knit a little bit of ribbing instead of doing, I think I do 2 inches in the pullover. My pullover is downstairs right now. So you could absolutely just do like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch, and it's going to keep it more of a scoop round neck for you instead of that higher crew neck. Otherwise, I don't think I would recommend Frankensteining them together unless you are very comfortable with math and pattern modification. I don't think that they would just swap into each other, especially with the differences of the shaping of what's going on in the vest versus the pullover. So yeah, I think that the second idea there is the winner, which would be just do a shorter amount of ribbing on your collar. I have a question about cleaning your hand knits, specifically cleaning candle wax from your knits. A few months ago, there was a mishap with a lit candle, and while luckily my weekender didn't catch on fire, thank goodness, it did get splashed with candle wax. It is a non-superwash straight from the farm yarn, and I'm not sure how to go about getting the wax out without felting it. So my first thought, again, this is going to be kind of a crowdsourcing answer. I guarantee you're not the first person to get wax on a hand knit. And so I'm hoping somebody who maybe has dealt with this could chime in the comments. So please do if you have any experience with it. But my first thought is to melt it out. So using a little warm water to try, like, even, I don't know where it landed on your sweater, but I would put something absorbent underneath, even just like paper towel, because what you don't want, as it's melting, you don't want it to melt through to a different part of the sweater. So I feel like I would put a barrier in there, and I think I would, as long as you're not agitating the wool, it's probably not going to felt. Like, what is going to cause felting is extreme temperature shifts, so going from really hot to really cold water or vice versa, or agitation. So if you're just pouring some very hot water on there to melt the wax, it's not necessarily just going to seize up and felt on you. So that's what that's how I think I would start, is by pouring some hot water on there to just try and melt the wax out. But y'all let me know if you've got better ideas. All right, last question. Most of the cardigans and sweaters I have knit from patterns have been top down, but when I'm freestyling on my own, I find it easier to knit bottom up. I'm currently knitting a garter cardigan bottom up, and when I picked up stitches for the button band and the collar, it pulled the bottom of the cardigan up a lot and looked bunched up and weird. I've decided to instead knit the button bands to a point on each side, and then I'm going to pick up the collar separately and work some short rows to connect it to the button bands. My question is it possible to pick up the button band and collar of a cardigan and I just did it wrong? Did I pick up too many stitches? Not enough? Or is doing it all together in this way just going to naturally want to lift the cardigan up? So you just didn't pick up enough stitches. Basically what it sounds like to me is your button band's just too tight, and so it's pulling the bottoms of your cardigan up with it, creating some bunching. One thing to think about is with garter is a condensed fabric. So I just wonder if you just weren't picking up enough stitches as you went around. I'm also curious though if you have blocked your sweater yet, because that garter is gonna open up, but so is the ribbing. So it does sound like if it's a significant pull up, you need to pull that out and redo it, picking up more stitches. But just keep in mind, I actually like to block sometimes my cardigan before knitting, like picking up and knitting the button band. For one, it makes it easier because it's a flatter edge to pick up from, and it gives you an idea of already like the finished length, because depending on what kind of yarn you use, garter can grow quite a bit. But yeah, you just need to pick up more stitches and that'll help. You could also do a sewn on button band if you want to be able to do that, depending on which direction you want your stitches facing. That can look really nice too, where you would just knit a button band and seam it on. But yeah, good luck on your freestyle sweater. That sounds super fun. All right. Well, that is all the questions. Wow, we were only 10 minutes in. I flew through those. What are we gonna do now? Well, it is the last day to take advantage of my birthday discount. So take advantage if you don't want to miss out. The discount code is all caps, DRK is IS, and then the number 40. So you can use it on Ravelry, you can use it on my website, and it just doesn't include the tessellated patterns since those were just released, but it includes all of my other self-published patterns. So it doesn't include patterns that were released through a third party because I don't have full control of those patterns, but everything else is included, and it's 40% off, y'all. It is a big discount. So today is the last day to take advantage of that, and yeah, I wish I had more. I don't think I've ever done one this short. I feel like I need to keep going. I had a couple weeks where these were like an hour long, so I'm not sure how I blew through these. I'm like, did I skip a question? Nope, I read that one. I was just real quick with them. Oh my goodness. Well, we've got lots of knit alongs going on. We have the tessellated knit along, and of course all the links are below for that. You can participate on Ravelry, Facebook, Instagram. We also have the Attune shawl knit along going on, so that is also linked below. And I just realized, sorry y'all, I'm being all rude and looking over to the side. There is a spin it to knit it, spin along, knit along, that will be coming. I am just trying to decide on timing because we do have quite a few knit alongs going on right now. So I'm just waiting to get that pinned down, and I will definitely send out information in my newsletter. My newsletter is always the best way to stay up to date with things that are going on, like new knit alongs, pattern sales, new patterns, all that great stuff. And that's always linked below in the show notes. But I guess I'm just gonna treat myself to a shorty week because it's my birthday. So I hope that y'all have a great weekend, and thank you for being part of this for 126 episodes. I can't believe it. And I wouldn't be able to do it every week if y'all weren't tuning in and asking questions. So thank you so much to all your questions that you put in, and I'll be back next week with a longer one. All right, bye y'all.